Like so many others, I too once engaged in that nickel and dime slot machine beat the clock mania, which was comprised by TriMet bus transfers, all the way up until March of 1999, wherein I began to purchase the monthly bus pass. I went on to purchase said bus passes for, lo, the next 20 years, all the way up until last month, at which point TriMet officially discontinued their physical, tangible, monthly bus passes in favor of some sort of digitalized credit card nonsense, the transition to which was caused by the collective conformity for which all of you in turn are to blame. Such is not the point of this little discourse. However, it might be pondered, why in the hell would anyone hold on to all of these bus passes over all these years? The answer to this question did not immediately present itself. However, long ago, we discovered that if you take these passes and you arrange them in rows and columns corresponding to the 12 months of the year over the course of the next 2 decades, something really rather interesting transpires. Observe if you will. Now then, apart from the fact that several of these bus passes are missing, a fact for which I can account, I assure you, it will continue to be wondered, what is the point to all of this? Well, as some of you may or may not recall, you have a rough-and-tumble, wild child, rail-riding, squatter-punk cousin by the name of Jen. A fiercely anarchistic tomboy hell-bent on sticking it to the man every chance she gets. It was your cousin Jen who, in this configuration, saw something which she believed she could well be utilizing. Disregarding all of the omissions, if you were to scrutinize the tessellation of these bus passes with particular attention to the diagonal cross grain, you will notice, upon inspection, that a pattern begins to emerge. If we happen to be, for example, in January of this year, we would know from the previous year's tessellation that the bus pass for the very next month would correspond to this color, and for the month beyond to this color, and the next to this, and thus, and so on and so forth, all the way through the year. And the years to come. Yet again, I imagine you are still demanding, what is the point? With this foresight, knowing that next month's would be of this color, she would simply borrow from last year's, and so on, and so forth, throughout the course of the year. Hence, always knowing 1 month in advance what the design of the next month's bus pass would be, she was consistently able to substitute whatever the current pass was with that of the previous year. She would do so simply by obscuring the month and the year and counting upon the virtually interchangeably identical properties of the bus passes themselves. She would allow a passing glance to the driver, bustle down the aisle, and then take her seat. It is, after all, called a flash pass. She did this again and again and again and again for years. Naturally, it would behoove me to mention at this juncture that I did not become aware of her ingenuity until considerably later. Had I known all along of her activities, I would hardly be broadcasting this now. Suffice it to say, it remains nevertheless a singularly brilliant way of getting from point A to point B. As for myself, I am once more relegated to the nickel and dime dealings with the fare box. That is, of course, until they discontinue that as well. The final point which might be pondered by some of you is why I do not simply upgrade to this new digitalized credit card format. Well, in point of fact, that would be a downgrade, but yes, I suppose I could go and do that for myself. By the same token, you all know what you in turn can go and do to yourselves.